how can we take that and then go, let's look at something positive to achieve something rather than like, of looking at getting out of a negative thing that we're doing. How can we take that to like improve our life? Cool. Anything come to mind?
Yep. So every single negative thing can be reframed into the positive. And that's generally what you're going to have to do, because we live in a society now which is completely different to the ones that our ancestors grew up in hundreds of thousands of years. We evolved over maybe millions of years to be risk averse and to predict danger. Because all the ancestors of ours that were like full on optimists, they died.
Yeah.
But luckily for us, although we like to complain about the stressful world, what's the world come to? It's actually pretty conducive to thriving. So if you're trying to achieve a goal, first thing, if you give yourself a long time frame, 5 years, then all of a sudden the progress you're making can be framed in the positive, right? Because it's always framing. Yeah. It's like things are not bad, things are. They can be good or bad. If you look at every failure as a learning and you bake that into your soul, then you're going to chew up failure. If you're a cold caller and you've got in your thought process to the point where every single dial is 1% closer to a close, you're like, yes, he said no. Yes, he said no. Yes, he told me to fuck off and die. And then you'll get there. And so cold calling is one of the hardest things that a human can do, right? And so there's a good example. So what I would say is it's your ability to take whatever it is that's coming in and whatever your self-talk is and reframe it into the positive will dictate the emotional state you're in, and that often is going to dictate your behavior. One little extra thing I would say is sometimes you can't think your way out of it. You can't think your way out of it. We might get too technical here, but there's a thing called the sympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, sympathetic nervous system, and then dorsal. There's a state dorsal, which is you crawl up. So what the body tries to do is you're in a relaxed state and you're chilling and you're like, oh, everything's all good, and you're open and you're flowing, and some people call it a flow state or a happy or a content mood. And then you get into, and maybe you're on a night out. And then the sympathetic state is like fight or flight. Oh, something's going on. Oh, he's a bit dodgy. What do I want to do? Am I running? Am I fighting? What's going on? And then the state past that is dorsal, and that's hide. That's just crawl up in a ball, fetal position, hide in the bush, and hope you don't die. Play dead.
Yeah.
And that state is where I would find myself a lot. A lot of humans are in dorsal a lot of the time and they don't even know it. They're on the couch, doom scrolling, high, vaping, whatever, just stressed out. And it's basically impossible to reframe things into the positive when you're in that dorsal state. And it's even difficult to reframe things into the positive when you're in the I can't remember which one's sympathetic or parasympathetic, but when you're in the fight or flight state and you're on, and you're going, it's harder. So I use exercise to break out. So sometimes if you find yourself unable to break out and I just can't reframe this in the positive, I just say, it's like maneuver yourself to the door, put your shoes on, get out for a walk, get out for a run, hit the assault bike, do 50 burpees, whatever, just get it moving, blow it out. And I genuinely believe exercise is like the medicine.
Yeah.
It's not quite as good as a diazepam.
We should just highlight at this stage of the podcast that neither of us are trained health professionals, or well, you might claim to be.
No, I'm not a trained health professional. These are just things that I've learned fighting myself my whole life.